to talk about sex very early. I grew up in San Francisco, and from kindergarten to 8th grade, I went to a very touchy-feely, PC private school called Presidio Hill. It was actually located inside of an old mansion in Pacific Heights. My first sex ed class, which was on assault, was in 3rd grade. In 4th grade, one of my classmates' 2 dads told us what semen was as part of a sex ed course, not like, in the back alley after school. And then in 6th grade, my English teacher told us that we could come out to her at any time. So it was that kind of place, a welcoming place. Also, my class, which basically stayed intact from all 9 years that I was at this school, had 16 people in it. 1-6. So it's probably going to surprise nobody here that once I got into middle school, we had this thing called social skills, which was a time, once a week, where the girls all met with our beloved braless science teacher, Sue, and the boys all met with our hot young Asian math teacher, Dennis, and everyone could talk about his or her feelings. Now, this was middle school, so a lot of times this just devolved into these catty sessions where we would confront each other over conflicts or talk about people who weren't there or cry. But also, it was a time to talk about sex and burgeoning sexuality. And perhaps nobody took better advantage of this than one boy named Laker Sparks. Okay, so before I continue, a few words on Laker Sparks. First of all, that's his real name. I'm just laying it out. I know it's 2 basketball teams. I'm sorry, Laker, for using your name here now. He was very tall and pale with bright red hair, and he had transferred to our school in 4th grade from South Carolina. Every day to school, Laker wore this fur fedora from Indiana Jones. And once we reached middle school, he transitioned from the fedora to a fez. A fez. Like, we all know that the fez is the thing that the Turks used to wear. Laker wore that every day to school. Okay, so he was an original, which is a great quality once you reach adulthood. It did not make him the Adonis of 6th grade. A rampant body odor and acne contributed to this problem. I found out that Laker liked me when he left me a heart-shaped sugar cookie outside my doorstep on Valentine's Day. It was wrapped in that white wax paper, still fresh from the coffee shop, with no note, a gift from a secret admirer. We were tipped off because his stepdad called our house phone and left us this voicemail that just said, "Hi, this is, never mind, just go outside and look." Which was totally terrifying in itself. My parents and I went out there and discovered the cookie and didn't know what to make of it, so I went to school and immediately blabbed about it. And my classmates outed Laker, and I gracefully, being 11 years old, handled it by shouting, "It was Laker!" in homeroom, thereby humiliating him, which I wish I had dealt with better. So you're probably feeling sorry for Laker, but just know this, the story is not over. So it was out there, everybody knew Laker liked me, which is to say 16 people knew Laker liked me. And then one day, David Subatan, who was the class clown, got this really funny look on his face and came running up to me and he said, "Laker said he wants to fuck your brains out."
Oh.
Just gonna let that raw language sink in. The harshness of this phrase on my delicate 11-year-old ears cannot be overstated. I did not use the word fuck, which is hard to believe back then. I didn't think about fucking another person in very concrete terms, really only in kind of misty, romantic generalities. And if I did, it was a tender and amorous act, and at no point did my brains whisk, rigorous thrusting, pour out of my skull. person that I had never thought to think of before. It was Laker Sparks in the Fez, fucking my brains out. This phrase was now on the lips of every 6th grader at Presidio Hill School. It was first revealed that this line was said in social skills, go figure, but not by Laker. Chris Z, who was the class heretic, if you will, often bullied, having no impulse control, had been listening to Laker describe his crush on me in social skills. And then he said, Laker probably wants to fuck Martine's brains out. At which point Laker said, Chris, don't announce my fantasies. So, right, in this new light, Laker's kind of innocent. I mean, except for the fact that he did confirm with his witty reply that he would like to fuck my brains out, that he had been thinking about it, maybe he was still thinking about it. And that troubled me at 11 before I had the language to articulate it. I understood that this violent image stood in sharp contrast to that sweet, damp sugar cookie on my doorstep, that it appeared to be lurking behind it. Romance of pretense to male aggression, to sexual violence, to objectifying a person so thoroughly that her brains could literally part from her body as part of the sexual act. And I knew that I would have to respond, in part to quell the rumor mill, but also to extract myself from this image and to reject it. I confronted Laker in art class. I sat next to him, and we rarely spoke. So now we were sitting side by side, whispering, making very little eye contact, and kneading wet clay. And I can't remember how I opened, but it was something along the lines of, I hear that you want to fuck my brains out. To which Laker replied, well, first he turned bright red. Bright. We were both red. And then he said, I didn't say that. Chris said it. And I said, Chris said it. And then you said, Chris, don't announce my fantasies. He goes, right. And I said, Laker, that's disgusting. I know, he said. I looked at him and he had the same expression on his face that I did when David had first uttered the dreaded phrase. Satisfied, I retreated. Laker and I got through the next 2 years of school amiably. He never made a move on me. He graduated and went on to Lick Wilmerding High School, where he stopped wearing the fez and began making his own chainmail, which he wore every day instead. We are not friends on Facebook, but it's easy to find him there. And I can tell you now that he is married to another redhead. I'm not married, so you know what? That's in my face. I think of him fondly. He was not the author of the situation. The language wasn't his. He was a sweet kid, truly. And from my adult perspective, I do have a better appreciation of the tumultuous sexuality of 11-year-old boys. However, the Laker Sparks Fuck Your Brains Out story was an awakening for me of sorts. It was an introduction to the male gaze and its desire to dominate, and it was an introduction to rape culture years before that would become popular terminology. I learned that my male peers were learning to speak of me in pornographic terms, and I was not learning to speak the same way of them. For all my enlightened sexual education as a child, nobody had talked to me of this disparity. But I learned it in school anyway. Thank you.